Viewers, in a big embarrassment for Pakistan, the United States denied entry to Pakistan's ambassador to Turkmenistan, KK Ehsan Wagan. The U.S. immigration authorities, in fact, stopped him upon his arrival at the Los Angeles International Airport, subsequently deporting him. A Pakistani media report citing diplomatic sources said that Wagan was denied entry despite having a valid U.S. visa and all necessary travel documents. Pakistan's foreign ministry has reportedly directed its consulate in Los Angeles to investigate the case. But it's not just beyond the borders. Troubles haunt Pakistan even within its own borders. Baloch militants have in fact hijacked a train in Balochistan's Bolan area. Jafar Express with over 400 passengers on board was on its way from Quetta to Peshawar when it was hijacked. There were scores of Pakistan soldiers who were on board, and Pakistan government has deployed soldiers in the region to deal with the situation. But many, including several defense experts, are saying that Pakistan is now getting the taste of its own medicine.
Now, this was a specific intel that probably the Baloch Liberation Army had got. They knew that there were Pakistan Army soldiers going in this train. So this train, they hijacked it there, and it is believed that they have been taken hostages.
If you recall the statement of Maulana Faisal Rehman in Pakistan Senate, that 6 to 7 districts of Balochistan have total control of terrorists. There is no control of the Pakistan government or the Pakistan army. If they declare independence today, Maulana said in the Senate that UN will recognize them. That is the condition in Balochistan.
हमको याद है हमारा फ्लाइट काठमांडू से हाईजैक किया गया था. कहां ले जाया गया था? अफगानिस्तान. और उसमें बड़े-बड़े टेररिस्ट को छुड़ाया गया था, जिसमें मसूद था. आज जो जैसा बोता है वैसा काटता है.
All right, there's some breaking news coming in. There's a BLA statement. 30 plus Pakistan's personnel have been killed. 214 hostages held. That's the latest statement coming in from the BLA. In fact, a huge number of Pakistani security personnel being killed. Really, of course, what happens from here on remains to be seen. But let's quickly take it across to our guest now joining us. With us is Shehbaz Sharif, Senior Fellow at the ORF. With us is Veena Sikri, former diplomat. Abdul Samad Yaqoob is a political analyst joining us from Pakistan. Faisal Rehman is a senior journalist joining us from Pakistan as well. Veena Sikri, massive attack taking place over there, and what's shocking is that there are hundreds of passengers, over 30 officers who, by the latest BLA report, if you go by their statement, have been killed. All of this happening in the backdrop of diplomatic embarrassment, where Pakistan's own ambassador is not being allowed entry into the United States, and there has been talk about whether Pakistan and Afghan nationals are going to be denied entry in the United States, much like happened out about 7 nations in Trump's first regime.
Yes, indeed, this is not only a great embarrassment, but I would say it's a reassertion of a well-known fact that Pakistan is terrorism central as far as the world is concerned. We already saw in President Trump's own speech that the terrorist, responsible for the Kabul airport bomb blast which killed American soldiers was in Pakistan and has now been surrendered to the Americans. Earlier on, it was Osama bin Laden who was living in Pakistan, and then was, from there, as you know, the American action that was taken against that. And now it is a problem within. It is a problem from within Pakistan that the Baloch Liberation Army has taken this matter. We saw a few days ago news that 4 separatist groups of Balochistan have come together and formed themselves into the Baloch National Army. This is a great indication of the coming together of these groups within Balochistan, uniting their efforts in their stated objective to achieve independence from Pakistan. And obviously this is the first big attack of this united group, as far as we can make out. And it's a major embarrassment. Very well-known intelligence must have been available with them that this train was carrying a large number of Pakistan Army soldiers and officers and was traveling all the way from Quetta to and we know that I don't know how this will pan out, because they've said that if any attempt by the Pakistan Army is there to come near this train, they're going to kill all the other hostages.
Yes, they've also threatened that action, but I would request you to hold on to your thoughts. Let's get in some of our other panelists from Pakistan as well. Abdul Samad Yaqoob, not just the embarrassment outside of Pakistan with your diplomat not being allowed entry into the United States, highly unusual circumstance, many would say, but also what's happening globally. Just a few days ago, we saw what happened in Spain with several Pakistan, nationals being accused of perpetrating violent acts over there. And now you have terrorism, which is homegrown, which is coming back to bite Pakistan and embarrass. And look at the kind of incident that has taken place.
Well, it's not only about a Pakistani diplomat who is facing such humiliation. I mean, there was an example when even Indian diplomat, a senior diplomat, was got arrested in USA. So we can strongly condemn it, and this act should be reciprocated.
Was the Indian diplomat denied entry, or was there some kind of legal action taken? I think the two are very different.
America, what America has done with President Zelensky, I mean, that was a humiliation. So America is losing its soft power, I mean. So even along, it's not the moment to cherish, I mean, by you. I mean, the way you are...
No, nobody's cherishing anything. And I'm very sorry. We are in such pain about what is happening, especially with citizens of Pakistan being treated in this manner, and any country that is treated so badly. And of course, comparing the ambassador there with President Zelensky is a bit rich. But Sushant Sareen, would you like to respond to what's being stated here by Mr. Yaqub?
No, I think Mr. Yaqub is just simply trying to deflect what the situation in Pakistan is and putting up a valiant effort. And, the Pakistanis always try and bring in what happened to India in a completely different context. There was a diplomatic spat, how India retaliated. Let's see how the Pakistanis retaliate. Let's see them refuse entry to an American diplomat coming to Pakistan. That would be reciprocation. Well, if they're going to do it, they're going to do it. But I think more than this diplomatic humiliation, which I think Pakistan is kind of getting used to, it's the events in Balochistan which should really worry them. But they won't. Because look, I can tell you how the trajectory of events is going to unfold. There will be a lot of calls from within Punjab to exact retribution on the Baloch, as though the Pakistan army is not already butchering the Baloch. So there will be a lot of calls for that. There will be some kind of operations launched. Now this furor will last for 2-3 days, after which the attention will once again focus on Pakistan army reconquering Islamabad, ensuring Imran Khan is in jail, ensuring all his party men. I don't know if Yaqub is still a member of his party or he has ditched them and joined the government party, but they will be doing stuff like that to Imran Khan's party. They will be trying to pressure the judges, intimidate them, blackmail them. They will be trying to pick up other people. So basically the focus will go back to what happens in Lahore and Islamabad. Who gives a damn about what happens in Balochistan? It's a dirty little outpost for the Punjabis anyways. So I think that's the trajectory which is going to happen. Alternatively, they'll carry out even more operations. Perhaps a complete kind of invasion of Balochistan will be carried out, not for the first time. As though that is going to solve the problem. 5 times, 6 times in the past they've done something like this. It hasn't worked out. It's always backfired. And in fact, the kind of retribution and the repression that the Pakistanis are visiting upon the Baloch, going into their houses, insulting their women, picking up their kids, picking up students from universities, killing them on the roadsides and throwing their bodies out there. This is only fueling the angst against Pakistan and fueling the swelling the ranks of the separatists. Now, if that is the course the Pakistanis want to follow, they're welcome to it. But they have no other option because politics is dead in Pakistan. There is the former Chief Minister of Balochistan, Akhtar Mengal, has already come out, resigned his seat from Parliament, saying that Parliament is infructuous. The army decides what laws are going to be passed. The army decides who's going to vote for which law. The army decides whether Sindh's water will be Sindh's water or will be given to Punjab. The army decides everything. So nothing is left to the politicians.
It's a completely one-sided situation is what you're saying over there, Sushant. And let me bring in Faisal Rehman. Faisal Rehman, it's going to be, the more things change, the more they remain the same. That's in a sense what is being stated by Sushant Sareen. Perhaps, it's just a matter of days before things go back to normal. Not much that you will really end up seeing there in Balochistan.
Well, it's not only about Balochistan. I mean, if you look at it from another perspective, that when you talk about this recent wave of terrorism. Terrorism was never eliminated in Pakistan. But if you look at the last 2.5 months, talking about the year 2025, I mean, it has really multiplied significantly. Whether you talk about the Banu attack, in which precious lives were lost, Pakistan Army ended up killing around 16 terrorists. That's not a joke. And as many people got killed as well, the civilians I'm talking about, and around 5-6 commandos were also killed. What I'm saying is, then there was another attack in Quetta at the railway station, in which around 25-30 people got killed. What I'm trying to tell you is that now Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, TTP, has become the largest terrorist organization based in Afghanistan. And there are about more than 25 splinter groups that have joined hands also. So the case is with Balochistan. That is comparatively a little different, because BLA, whether you talk about their splinter groups such as Majid Brigade or otherwise, I mean, these are assigned certain targets to kill these civilians. And whatever objectives they have in
mind.
But
Faisal, end of the day, whatever may have been happening over the last few months, this is not happening in isolation. Your country has not cracked down on terror groups such as LET, such as JM, which have actually perpetrated and actively perpetrated attacks here in India. If you've allowed them to go on and, even carry out attacks in Jammu and Kashmir and not take action in POK, clearly, of course, you're just reaping the fruits of what you have sown a few decades ago.
Apples with oranges here, because Balochistan is a part of Pakistan. When you talk about Jammu and Kashmir, that's a disputed area.
Sir, terrorism is terrorism everywhere.
Indigenous homegrown movement out there.
The point is, LET and JEM, we all know what the United Nations and others have said regarding that. How can you even compare that? How can you say that they're apples and oranges? There are people who pick up the gun. There are people who have no humanity and no mercy.
Kashmir issue is in the United Nations. It's a pending issue out there. We all know that. Whether you revoke the article over there or whatever the Indians plan to do, it's a different ballgame. When it comes to
Kashmir issue in the United Nations, leave it apart. Why have you not acted on those who've carried out terror attacks in India? Can you tell me that?
No, that's now, you have got a very limited time, I guess, because that's a very separate chapter. We can definitely do another show on that. But
no, I want you to answer on the show, sir. Please don't run away from the question. Tell us, what is the action that you have taken?
Sir, what India is doing in Afghanistan and what sort of
not Afghanistan, sir. Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed. What have you done?
The kind of training that India is providing to the terrorists. Do you think India deserves
Simple question, Faisal Rehman. You are running away from the question. I'm asking you. All right. Veena Sikri, would you like to respond to that? First it's apples and oranges. Then what India is doing in Afghanistan. Everything but the answer to what happens as far as action on LET and JEM.
Absolutely. I take strong objection to the gentleman from Pakistan saying that J&K is disputed territory. It belongs wholly and solidly to India. And it is well known historically, the UN Security Council resolutions, by the admission of the UN Secretary General himself, are no longer implementable. And they're no longer implementable because Pakistan never followed the tenets of the resolution. The tenets of the resolution specified that Pakistan was to withdraw its army from Pakistan-occupied J&K, and the Indian army was to go and take its place, and all the people not ordinarily resident in that area were to be withdrawn. None of these things happened, and so those Security Council resolutions are no longer implementable. That has been fully recognized and accepted. So this, to say that this question is now in the UN, is completely infructuous. It no longer is so. The only question now remains, as was said by our External Affairs Minister a short while ago, is how to get back Pakistan-occupied J&K. And so I think this is absolutely ridiculous to talk about J&K when we are talking about this train heist in Balochistan, and also to see what is happening to Pakistani diplomats abroad. I mean, this question of the Pakistan envoy being stopped despite having full papers at the LA airport is clearly an indication that the Americans had some other information on him, either due to his activities in LA when he was
okay, let me see if Mr. Abdul Yaqub has an answer to that question. Abdul Yaqub, what is the action you have taken against the perpetrators of 26/11, of the various attacks including Pathankot, etc.? End of the day, very little action being taken against LET, JEM and other tanzeems which are responsible for spreading and perpetrating terror on Indian soil.
Well, unfortunately, the definition of the terrorism in Pakistan has been entirely changed. I mean, we as a PTI members are more terrorist for them than the LET or than the Hafiz Saeed. I mean, the scenario or on the ground is entirely different. The reality is that PTI individuals are facing far more cases in number-wise in the multiple terrorist courts rather
maybe
than...
so, sir. Maybe so. Maybe you are being targeted, but you did precious little even when your party was in power. When Imran Khan was there in power, what did you do? Nothing.
No, when Imran Khan was in power, you know very well that at that time it was a hybrid regime, and we have to, I don't want to remain in the state of denial that dealing with the terrorist was the domain of the Pakistan military. They are dealing with them, and they are still not taking that serious action.
You're actually saying that because it was a hybrid regime, the army was in control of the situation, the civilian prime minister was not. Wonderful.
There is no serious action. There is no serious action which was really taken against the real culprits of the Mumbai attacks or the Masood.
Well, I'm glad you're at least admitting as much and not, living in denial. I'm glad, and that's very interesting and refreshing to see that kind of a view coming in from Pakistan. Sushant.
Yeah, look, very quickly, I'll shift the focus back to what is happening as far as terrorism is concerned. One, very quickly, Imran Khan terrorizes the Pakistan army because they're really scared of him. If he comes out of jail, I don't know, he'll make mincemeat out of the generals. So I think he actually is a terrorist for the Pakistan army because he terrorizes them. Secondly, on the terrorism factor, look, one, TTP, I don't know why the Pakistanis are calling them terrorists. Not too long back, at the time 26/11 happened, their ISI chief at that point of time, Ahmad Shah Pasha, said Baitullah Masood and TTP are very patriotic Pakistanis. Now, how come suddenly they've become unpatriotic Pakistanis? Number three, this whole business, and Madhav, I take objection to this, calling the Baloch fighters terrorists. I don't think they're terrorists. They're fighting a war of liberation simply because of the kind of indignities and the kind of brutalities that have been visited upon them by the Pakistani state, by especially the Punjabis in Pakistan who have been grabbing their resources and torturing them. And finally, let me just make one very, very important point. This whole business that India is doing stuff from Afghanistan. For 20 years, the Pakistanis defied international consensus by supporting the Taliban. And the reason they supported the Taliban, and they at that point of time claimed that India was behind terrorism in Pakistan. Now suddenly their favorite children, the Taliban, took over power in Pakistan. The terrorism has only increased. Now again they are blaming us. We only have about 10 or 12 people in our technical mission in Afghanistan. If they are saying that 10 or 12 Indians based in Afghanistan, a country with which we currently do not have contiguous borders, right, although cartographically we are contiguous, but in reality we don't have a contiguous border. How are we supplying these people? How are we supplying the Baloch? Are the Iranians involved? Are the Afghans involved? Why are you dragging us in? This is a mess you have made in your country by treating the Baloch so shabbily. They are hitting back. It's between you and them. How are you involving us into this? I don't see, not that I'm not going to shed a tear for the Pakistanis because of the kind of terrorism they heaped on this country.
Faisal, quick response. Let's get a quick response from Faisal. It's a mess of your own creation. Faisal, respond to Sushant.
I'm not shedding a tear for them.
Well, coming to the very basic, the way the Indians have utilized their people in Afghanistan, the way they have funded the terrorist organizations. Balochistan, one example is right.
Sir, Balochistan, how is Balochistan connected to Afghanistan?
No, because that is directly connected, sir. Because all these terrorists, they are in direct contact with the.
So you're saying the current Taliban, the current Taliban regime is also involved. Before 1947, there was no Taliban. Then also they were involved. What is the argument here?
No, let me just put my point here. What I'm trying to tell you, sir, is that the direct link of the Indian law enforcement agencies or their intelligence agencies or people like Ajit Dawal, they have been very categorically saying that they will make sure that Balochistan doesn't remain a part of Pakistan. And this is exactly what they're doing.
Sir, evidence to link the same. Whether agencies are making any claims is immaterial. No such link has been proved. And we'll have to leave it there. Sushant Sareen, Veena Sikri, Abdul Samad Yaqub, as well as Faisal Rehman, thanks so much for joining us this evening.